What's up YouTube, Barcode here, bringing you another Epic 7 video. This video is going to be my first progression series video, and it's going to be about who to 6-star first for your first 4 characters, and also how to 6-star them as efficiently and quickly as possible with a daily and weekly schedule. First and foremost, your first 6-star should be your farmer. This farmer should be someone that can speed clear through adventure or other places where I'll explain later in this video where to farm fodder, but it should be someone focused towards Wyvern, either a water or fire character for at least your first goal with Wyvern 9. There's a lot of different choices that you can choose to be your first farmer. During the selective summons, that's when you should be choosing who should be your first 6-star farmer, and that just depends who to 6-star later to accompany this first 5-star farmer to work towards a Wyvern 9 team, because that should be your first goal. Wyvern 9 brings speed set, it brings crit, it brings effectiveness. All those things are all for mid and end game level. So let's get started on who I recommend. There's a lot of different choices. There could be Kisei, it could be Sez, it could be Balsazan after the buff. Before he wasn't that good, but I feel like Balsazan is a great champion to use in Wyvern and also in a Golem 11 team. It could be anyone, you know, what did I say? Sez, Haste, any of those. Even Tenebria. Tenebria doesn't really bring much to Wyvern, but she can speed clear very well, and she's a good arena unit if you have the good speed set gear on her and make her first turn for AoE break. But she's very squishy. Other champions, I mean, Crow could be your, but he's single target, so he's slower, but he's great for arena and can be a frontline for Wyvern 11. It just depends on who you like the most. And when I talk about, you know, 6-starring somebody, definitely go towards the meta of what your goal is. But if you also like that character, you gotta have fun with the game too, right? So definitely focus on those. So it could be Ken. Ken's a great defense breaker, can be a frontline for Golem too if you build him bruiserish. So it just depends on who you want. Vildred is obviously an amazing farmer and could be great for Banshee 11 as well. But when your first goal is kind of like a Wyvern team or someone for Raid or Abyss, there's just other better choices. But those are some definitely recommendations for 5 stars. For 4 stars, I would definitely, if you get Clarissa, she is an amazing farmer and can bring a lot to Wyvern as well, and even a Wyvern 11. So that's another good choice to use, but definitely the first 6 stars should be a farmer. Your next 6 stars should be someone that is a healer, and you can make a speed healer depending on what your next 2 stars are going to be. But a healer can also be a frontline tank. Some great examples. I know Deanne, a lot of you can't get now if you started later or you weren't lucky enough to have the RNG to pull her. But Deanne, Angelica is an amazing 1st star, second 6-star character. Her, and then also even Hazel. I mean, but if you have Angelica or Deanne or Akatis, I would wait on Hazel. She has the specialty change now, but she still can be awesome for Golem 11 and for Wyvern 9, and some people even use her for Wyvern 11, but I still recommend all mono element teams for comps for Wyvern, for stage 11s for the hunts. Now for your third 6-star that you want to go ahead and focus on your 6ing is, it depends on if you're using your healer, your second 6-star, as a frontline tank and a healer. But if you use it as a speed healer with, you know, on a speed set and speed boost to get more heals more frequently, then I would go with a knight. Some definite recommendations: Crow for frontline for Wyvern. You could do Clary for Banshee and even for Golem. You can use Clary in Wyvern 11, but I'm all about the mono comp teams. But Clary is a specialty change. She brings all the characters that have specialty change bring so much to the compositions of your team with extra things. So Clary would be a great example. At this point, when you're on your third 6-star, you might be pulling some MLs. So if you get Crimson Armin, if you get Shadow Rose, there's so many different options you could choose for a knight, but Clury brings so much: a strip, a defense break, a provoke, AoE heals, a combat readiness. She's just so good to use. Some other people is Basque. Basque can be a frontline Wyvern 11 great tank to choose, but I wouldn't really recommend Basque being your third 6-star, but I would definitely work on Clury. If you are using your tank as a secondary, as a frontline tank, then I would go with utility DPS as your third 6-star. There's many different options that you could choose from. If you're going with the third 6-star to be a utility DPS, I would go with somebody that brings a lot of debuffs. And like I said, if you're maybe have 1 or 2 Moonlight summons in, Assassin Cartula, who I use, and is a great champion. But you could also go with, if you haven't 6-star haste and you have him, awesome Wyvern and awesome Golem 11. There's also a lot of different other choices. Araminta is great. Sigret is another great option for a third 6-star for a Wyvern. If you weren't lucky enough to pull Water Kisei, there's also Corinne. She's also a great Wyvern champion that you could use. There's also a lot of different other 6-stars that you could choose. Surin, who's awesome for Wyvern, could be great for Golem. But there's just so many different options you could choose. But that's why I'm not talking about too much about champions, because I'm just talking about team comps. And your third utility healer DPS would be a great third 6-star. Your fourth 6-star should definitely be someone that, whatever your team comp is missing, whether if you don't have a defense break, if you don't have debuffs, if you don't have combat readiness, if you don't have a defense buff maybe, or whatever the case may be, barriers, poison, whatever. The more debuffs for Wyvern, the better. So definitely look towards someone like that can fill that void that you're missing on your 4th 6-star. So now your first 4 champions that you have 6-starred can take you through a lot of different combat content, which is Wyvern 9, maybe even Wyvern 10 if you made a full mono comp water team. You could go into Abyss, you can go into Raid, do different things. For your fifth 6-star, that just depends on what your next goal is. Whether it's, if you have 3 water and 1 fire, maybe go for a 4 water character to go try to get to a Wyvern 11. There's also, you could go, if you're looking for higher Abyss raids, you can go for another healer. Now that I talked about the first 4 6-star characters that you should 6-star, let's talk about the weekly and daily grind on what the most efficient way to 6-star them and how I do it. I am pretty much free to play. I did get the rank up pack, but other than that, I am free to play, and having a goal and a weekly schedule and daily schedule is very important into progressing into your goals. And you should always have a goal. Whatever your case is, you should always have a goal. And in my goal is, I go about doing a couple different things. I still need to work on a couple different specialty changes and also maxing out their skill trees when awoken. So all I have left is Hazel and Ruzid, and until I pull Axe God, how to do that. But Hazel's almost done, and then I'll work on Ruzid. I'm doing all the specialty changes because they just bring so much more with their awoken skill trees, and they can bring a lot of utility to your teams. So let's talk about the daily schedule and the weekly schedule. First, daily. Every single day, you should just go ahead and get your daily reputation and your daily challenges done, just right off the bat, right when you wake up, right? You do the 5 adventures, you do the spirit altar, you do your 5 arenas, you do your hunts, you do you go into the sanctuary and just summon a penguin just to get it done. Get all of these done really quick, and then you'll be good to go, right? So then after that, it depends on the day of what you should really focus on. And right now, because of the energy spent in the hunts and everything like that, I am focusing more on 6-starring multiple characters so that I can use them in Guild Wars, and also just I have so many different options to choose for Guild Wars, and that's kind of my thing. I love Guild Wars, and that's what I am focusing on. But until they fix like Wyvern energy and stuff like that, and the hunt energy and equipment being so scarce and hard to level up, this is what I'm doing. I'm just preparing for the future, and I'm 6-starring as many things as I can. So let's talk about the daily and weekly schedule after all your daily reputations is done. So say it's Monday, okay? So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there is a guild war. So go ahead and get your guild wars done. And after that, you have the rest of the day, after your dailies are done, to just farm all day long, right? So if you have all your dailies done, it really just depends on the day, okay? So what I do is, because I want to max out all my skill trees, awoken skill trees anyway, of the specialty changes for my characters. If it is a fire altar, if it's a nature altar, or if it's a dark altar, I am farming fodder in the highest stage I can. So my farmer, and then 3 fodder in the altar, and I'm pretty much doing that all day until I max out those skill trees, the awoken skill trees. Once you have all your skill trees, your awoken skill trees maxed out of your specialty characters, on those days I would just go ahead, and if there's an event, then go ahead and farm the event, clear the event, do all of your achievements that you can, your reputation, the exchange shop, just complete everything you can until you are done with the event. Once you're done with the event, then go ahead and on those days, go ahead and farm the adventure for whatever catalyst that you need to either evolve, or you need skill ups for your character. Just go ahead and look for whatever catalyst you need in the monster tab of the region info. Say you need some more blessings of orbs, so just farm your 3 fodder with your farmer in those stages. So if you have your skill trees maxed out, you don't need altar, you don't need any specific catalysts on those days, then also make sure to spend at least all your Libran tokens, or if you're at 3 out of 3 max and you don't want to carry over to the next day, just go ahead and get into your lab and do your lab. Now the labs are a great way to get to your goal of, for say, Wyvern 9, okay? Now, a lot of people say you need the gear to farm Wyvern 9, and you can only get it from Wyvern 9. When that's not the case, Lab is a great area to focus on and get gear. You can get level 60 gear, and it works, and that gear can get you to farm Wyvern. So don't act like you need to farm Wyvern to get to higher stages of Wyvern. You don't. You can run labs, and in the meantime start farming fodder to 6-star other characters for your team comps. But lab is a great place to get gear, also with the arena gear and then gear you get from the shop. There's just multiple places to get gear, so you can work towards that higher end goal, so you don't waste time in Wyvern 7 or Wyvern 6 or whatever the case may be. The last place I want to tell you where to farm fodder, which is a great place, and I had an old video talking about these challenges and how the drop rates are horrible, which they are, and it's just worthless. It's not worth to do. There is one exception, and that's the Arose Apostle Training Ground, okay? If you don't have an altar day that you need to farm elements for any of your characters, if you don't have an event going on, if you don't have anything else going on, then Rose Apostle is a great place to farm fodder, 3 fodder with your farmer, and also get a chance at getting drops for lesser necklace charms, lesser ring charms. And if you farm hard difficulty with 3 fodder like I do, you have a very, 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 very low chance to get the greater necklace charms and the greater ring charms. I still haven't gotten one single charm from it, but when I do farm this, I do get a bunch of lesser necklace charms and lesser ring charms. And because of rings and necklaces, if you look at all your characters and your necklaces and rings, they are the hardest to level up because they don't drop anywhere else besides buying them from the shop, and farming Rose Apostle, this is a great place. Even if it's normal difficulty, getting those lessers will help your team tremendously over time. I farm hard with 3 fodder, and I do get a lot of lesser necklace and ring charms, just never greater, but they do help. After, you know, I'll be able to 6 something over time while farming this fodder, and being able to level up my rings and necklaces from the gold, from the drops and the gold that I get selling this lower equipment. It's definitely a decent place to farm, and this is where I farm, and I do like it a lot. So this is my first progression video: how to 6-star efficiently, how to farm efficiently, who to 6-star next. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.